Hey everyone, welcome to this demo video for UVs where we will practice what we learned in the UV theoretical video that I made before. If you didn't see it, I'll put the link in the description or you can find it on my channel. It's a video where I covered what UV is and what we use it for, what we do with them, and in this part we'll try it out. So the model you're seeing right now, you will have it available on Gumroad. It will be fully for free, so feel free to use this. Download it if you want to practice with me, otherwise just watch me how I do it and you can apply what you learn on your own models. In a folder I'll have few models, one without UVs and with UVs, and this scene which is rigged and you can pause it any way you want it, as you saw in the thumbnail. And I'll do another bonus video about it where we can also try your knowledge if you really understood what we learned. But other than that, I'll show how to use everything that is in here, so don't worry about it, but that will be next video. So now let's do the UV practice. Let's make a new scene and delete everything. So let's make a new scene, and now in this video, this is a video for beginners. That means I won't be covering UI, I won't be covering all the shortcuts and everything that you should use. I kinda expect you to already be familiar with the scene that we have done in the pancake tutorial course for full beginners. I will try to remind you, but I won't be paying too much attention to it. You will see the shortcuts and everything I'm using right in this right corner. See how I'm clicking the mouse, shift, and it's just, you're going to see it. So if you didn't understand something, you'll just see it here on the icon. Now, let's start with a new scene. Select all with an A, X, delete everything, and we need to upload the model I gave you. So let's go to the folder and get demo no UVs. Above that, there is a just demo that has UVs I have already done, and you can just check them out to see how I pack it. Because this is not the way we are going to do it, I can cover it in this video. I'll just show you the process of doing the cutting and quick packing. So let's just drag this into the scene. We have a version 4.4, import in BX, and that's it. We have a model. I'm gonna press 1 to look from front, and this is it. The model is fine. I will hide the eyes because we won't be doing UVs for the eyes, we don't need them, as we use emissions on the robot, so it's not necessary. For the UVs, when we are doing UVs, we have a special tab up here, which is UV editing. I will select that, and now you can see the UI changed a bit. That's good because it's already switches here to the UV space, and here I have the 3D space, all I need for this. I don't need animations or anything else. Now this is the first step before we do the UVs. Now before we start, we need an add-on. Blender doesn't automatically come with all the add-ons that are kinda needed. It's because not everybody needs all the tools, so it's not available right away. Let's go to Edit, Preferences, and here I'm gonna get extension. Here in a Get Extensions, I will type UV Toolkit. I'll already have it, but you will have an install button here. It's like this, install. So you will install it, and then you're gonna go to add-ons. It should put you there automatically, but let's go here, UV Toolkit. You can see I'll have it, so just tick it so it works. Here left corner, save preferences, and close it. Now when we press N in this 2D view, there is a UV toolkit. Bunch of tools everywhere, which we don't need all of them, but it's good you have it because more you progress in 3D, you will understand more what it is. So let's hide it. So now we have the essential tools, we have the model, where we will be doing the work. Now I need to save the project. So let's save it. Let's save this Blender file. Make sure you save things. Last thing before we start, I need to say we don't need to do this perfectly. This doesn't have to be the best work we do. This is just something so we touch the UVs and that you understand the process a bit, and then you try it yourself on something that you didn't make, on something that's not exactly your project, so that you don't have to get sad if it doesn't work out how you expected it. So just treat this as something to try things on. And again, this is for beginners. I assume you know the UI and everything around. If you don't, go to the full beginner course I have made on this channel. It's Stylized Pancakes, where I cover most UI things. Let's get started. Let's select the head and go to edit mode. When we do UVs, we do them always in an edit mode. While everything is selected, I can see in this space there's something, and this is what kind of defaults. When you make an object, they come with the default UVs, and when you start extruding, making holes and everything, they just deform and something like this happens. What we see in the 2D on the left side is what we select. So when we select something, it appears there. So since everything is kind of stretched, you won't see it much, but you will see it later. And also in this object head, I have 3 things, and I don't want to do 3 at once. So here on the right side and left side, we have this ear, and I don't want the ear. So I will select it like the vertexes, and I will press Ctrl L, which gonna do this. I have it on a different shortcut, so please remember this. Ctrl L is select linked. Here will be some additional options that we will use later, so just check this out. And while this is selected, I will hide it and go to edge mode. Left upper corner here, there are three modes. I will go to edge mode, which is 1, 2, 3 on the left side of the keyboard. So I will go to 2 and I will zoom here with a dot. Or I have this, below the escape there's like this pie menu that allows me view selected, so I use this. And now let's start cutting. As we talked about, to make UVs we have to cut things and then unwrap it. So let's do it too. I will alt select the edge, alt select edge here, and alt select edge here. I will alt select edge here, and I will alt select edge here. Now why did I do it here? The reason I did it here is because we have huge angle change in these corners. If there's very large changes in angles, the mesh tends to stretch a lot, and I want to cut it out. So this is not always true. It's a good guide to follow, that if you have something like that is a cube, generally you would want to cut it like this. It comes with practice. There is no exact rules. You just try it out, see what it does. Eventually you'll learn and get it. So now that I have selected, what do I do with it? I need to mark it, I need to cut it. So to cut it, we have an option in Ctrl E, there is edge options, and here we have mark seam and clear seam. If you want to, you can right click it and add it to quick favorites, both of these, so that you can have it in a queue. Now I will Ctrl E, or I can apparently right click if you want to, but I'm used to use Ctrl E. Mark seam, and now it got red. So now that it's red, it means it cut it. If I click away, I know this is the cut. If I wanted to get rid of it, I will alt select this, Ctrl E, clear seam. Now it's got rid of it. Now I got rid of it. So I will Ctrl Z to go back, and this is what we have right now. And now we need to unwrap it. To unwrap it, I will select everything, and here I will view, and I have many options to unwrap, but generally Usually you want to select one of these two, angle based and conformal. Angle based, as we talked, is more for organic things. Conformal is more for mechanical parts, which we do, so we could use this. And if it doesn't work and it's something mechanical, that means we did it kind of wrong. So now we have something like this. This doesn't tell us much. We can see from here that this overlaps, that means something's wrong there, but I can see that it's kind of work here. It got split quite okay. So it means this part could be right and this part not so much. But the other thing we talked about in a video was stretching. So to open stretching up here, if you go in this upper menu here, you can scroll with your mouse, it should move. For instance, if you have something like this, you have to scroll, but if you have it in the middle like I have, it should appear there. Next to the UV map, there's these two circles. You will click the arrow, and now UV stretch, and you will select this. Now you can see the stretching. I can see the blue means everything's fine, the green means it's kind of stretching, and yellow means it's terrible. It's yellow, orange, and red, I think. So this is bad. Why is it bad? And where is it bad? Because I'm inexperienced, let's say, and I don't know where this is, and everything is selected. For that we have a function here. If we scroll up here to the left, we have two arrows that is called UV sync selection. I will press this, I will deselect here just by dragging away, and I can go back here and drag over this. If I click dot on a numpad or my shortcut, I can see this is the part that's making the issue. As we can see, we don't have a cut here. That means the cut was insufficient. So let's go back to edge mode, select here, and select here. I will Ctrl E again and mark seam. Now I will select everything, U and conformal, and now I can see that it works nicely. Everything's blue, it got cut kinda properly, and then works. The only thing that doesn't work is here. But why doesn't it work here? What's so bad here? Why is it curved here while everything else is more or less straight? It's because we have holes in here. This is another big angle change, and it causes Blender to have issues with this. Before we proceed, why don't we use UV sync all the time? The reason is, if the mesh is big, it would show you everything, all of the parts. So if it's 1 million mesh, it would show you everything. And that's one thing. The other thing is, sometimes if you select this edge, now it selects the other part that it's connected to. If I don't have it, I can select it separately. That's the big difference in this generally. So just be sure you know when to turn it off or on. Now let's fix this. So to fix this, I need to make a cut somewhere where it doesn't break it. So the biggest angle change is somewhere here. So let's make a UV somewhere in here. They seem to be on both same parts. Let's Control E, mark seam. Again, all U, conformal. Now it's straight. It seems to work, but this seems to be bad. And now that the UV sync is selected, when I drag over this and I press Control Link with Control Alt, or again my shortcut, I have a mouse. It works even in here. I have it set up in UV, so don't be surprised. Every time I select one and then Control Link, Control plus L. So that's why I'm selecting all quickly. So if I do this, I can see the inside is not working. So let's check it out, because this works. Now we have to check out the inside. So let's check the inside. To check the inside, I can see that here is big angle change. So I will do the same thing. I will Alt select this edge, and I will Alt select this edge. I will Control E, select all, U, conformal, and this seems to work now. And I apparently selected a bit different edge, but that doesn't matter. We are trying the things out. We are not trying to do the best UVs. We are just learning to do cuts. Now we need to fix this. If I want to see what's happening, the select linked is great, because now if I do this and select everything with the Control Alt, it kind of selects everything, but I have more options. I can go into select linked here, down here, and go to seam. Now the seam has selected just this part, or I can do it in here. That depends. I will select this and select this with the Control Alt again. Here in option seam, this should be selected, and I will Shift H. And to make this cylinder work, it needs to have cut. If you were to flatten it, it would just be a circle, just a profile like this. So I need to cut it somewhere like this. Mark seam, select all, conformal, and now I can see it works well. So I will now take it here in 2D view. I will drag over it, Control Linked, and move it down. Now let's Alt H. Now I unhit everything, so let's check it. The other thing that remains is to do the ears. So I will select the ears, as typical as always, and Shift H, I will isolate these. Now if I press A, U, I can angle based if I want to. It kind of works. I can see the stretching is not so bad, but but generally you would still want to avoid this if you can, and I will avoid it by doing this, and then selecting this. Control E, mark seam, select all, U, conformal. Okay, but this is very impractical. First of all, when I use the conformal, you can notice that when it's spherical, it makes this kind of weird shape. It doesn't look like a sphere. So if I angle based, it does the sphere. If conformal, it will stretch it. Now it depends what we want to map on it, but this is more advanced. Generally, you want to cut it. You want to cut it across so that you can straighten it up, as I showed in the previous video. So either we can click here, or better somewhere down where the seam is not visible, and Control select here. It takes the shortest path. If I select this to here, just select the shortest path. Now I will do this, Control E, mark seam, or I will just select all, U, conformal, and you can see I straighten it up. Or I can come here if I want to, if I don't care too much, because I don't know where this is oriented. And I can Control E here, mark seam, all, angle based or conformal. As you can see, it works a bit better to straightening things up like this. I will take it all and put it on the side. And I didn't mention this, but all the transformational shortcuts and tools were here. So it's with rotation, works here, G works here, scale works here. Same thing as in the 3D viewport. I will unhide everything, Alt H, and we'll look from the front. Looks good, everything is blue. It needs packing, but we will do that at the end. I don't know how the texture will look on this. This is just, I know the UVs is kind of good, but I don't know how the texture looks. That's why we did use the add-on, and I will press N, and now, if I go to object mode, it's not necessary, you can be in edit mode, doesn't matter actually. And here the tools, I will scroll down, and there's checker map, that's built in, and custom. So let's select the custom and select this B and 2K. In the 2K you can see the textures and you can see how the textures will flow. So for instance, you can see it will go like this, but this will be flipped. So if you were to use something that goes across this, like this, it would be a bit flipped here. So your text would look like this. If you didn't want that, you would cut it here. Now you don't have to follow. And you would take this part and rotate it like this. So now all the text would come the same way. I will Ctrl Z back and leave it as it is because I don't need that. So that's one thing. This is how I check the textures, and you can see the size is not the same as well. We talked about texture density, but I won't be covering it here. It would get too difficult. But in a way, you would want to scale this so that it matches the same size of the checker map. So it looks similar. So like this. But let's leave it be. I will Ctrl Z again. We don't have to do this. And now let's follow with me again. So another thing I want to do before I go anywhere else, we talked about straightening things up. Let me push this a bit more here. And I want to take these parts that are cylindrical and I want to straighten it up. We have a tool in here for that. If I scroll back up in the UV toolkit, I have straighten UVs. But if I use this right now, need to disable UV sync, which is this option that we are turning on and off. And I will select all to preview everything. Drag over this and straighten UVs. Now you can see it straighten it up, but the scale is a bit off, so I can scale it just manually to match it. And the same thing I want to do in these parts. Take this a bit like this, straighten UVs, and it gets straightened. This is a habit you want to make every time you have you can straighten things up, which generally is, it has to be quads. The topology has to go like this in order to straighten it. And it's very handy because all your pixels will be in line, and something that is curved like this, I could just put a text over it which is straight and it will go to the curved part, and that's handy. So let's leave this. We have it ready. We know the checker map, we know how to straighten it, and we have done cuts. We have done cuts and isolations, so I think we are ready to speed a bit up. Let's do the other things. Right now I will leave the checker on this because this will tell me I have already done the UVs here. So let's go to the next part. Let's go to the body. I will Shift H the body and go to edit mode. I will do pretty much the same thing I did on the head. So I want to cut the things up and I want to isolate a bit more again. I will select this with the Control L, or I have it on shortcut again on the mouse. Shift H this and cut the body. From my experience, I already know that I want to cut it here. Control E, mark seam, and I know I will probably want to cut it here. Control E, mark seam, and then I will go from front, and then I will press 9 to go to the back because I want to make the cuts somewhere that is not visible, as the textures could make it appearing on the texture, especially if it's low resolution or it's not in line with the pixels. You will get that a bit more with the practice. Again, let's just put the seams somewhere that's not so visible. I will Control down to select the shortest path, Control E, mark seam. Now select it all to check it out. Let's go angle based this time and see what we did. This seems fine. This kind of seems fine as well, but it only looks like it's fine. It's good to always use the checker map. So if I go down here and go again R2KB on a custom checker map here, I can see it doesn't work well in here. It works a bit here, not well here. The question is, do I need it? I probably don't, because this is where the legs are and it's not visible and the texture around works well. That means I could cut it, and I will for the purpose of this video. I will add a cut in here and a cut in here. It doesn't matter if it's right or not. And I will cut it like this. So it did this. Right now it looks kind of fine. If I didn't like this as well, the stretching, I could have cut it here, mark seam, select all, unwrap, and now it would get rid of the stretching, but now we have created a cylinder here. If you select this, Control L again, and with the seam selected instead of normal, I would have to cut this one as well. I would have to go here and cut this, for instance. Cut it, and I have this. This way I can go here, the same thing. I'm still using Shift H to isolate things, Control E, mark seam, all U, unwrap, Alt H. If I go select back the body, because I unhid everything, which showed everything I didn't want, so normal, Shift H. Now everything is overlapping, it's difficult to select it, so let me just switch to seam on Control linked, the same here, Shift select seam, move it a bit sideways and scale it down like this. Now it matches everything else. So if I select everything, looks kind of fine. I have this thing which I want to straighten, as I showed you before. This is again something you will want to straighten up. So I will select this, go to UV toolkit and straighten UVs. It worked a bit, but it's straightened now. Great. Alt H. I have more things I want to do in here, so I will select length, normal, Shift H, This is easy, this is just a cylinder, so just this part, mark H, all, U, angle based or conformal, it will work both. Select this in 2D, straighten UVs, just to be sure. It worked, but just to be sure. It's a habit you want to make. Alt H, this is done. Now I have two parts in here. I have this right part and the left part. I'm selecting with a Control L, Shift H to isolate, and I know from practice again, I will do this inner part, not visible, or not, maybe here, somewhere behind, somewhere in here, and somewhere in here. Then, if I'm gonna cut this like that, what's gonna happen is this. So I want to straighten it up again. It's not necessary because as you can, or actually it is, you can see it does a lot of stretching. So I will make another seam here and another seam here. Mark seam, all U, angle based. Now it's gotten a bit better. But again, to be sure, select here in the 2D viewport, straighten UVs. Let's straighten. I will scale this manually down just to match this, and should be pretty much okay. You can see some stretching, but this is fine. At least it follows properly. So Alt H again, and let's check the other things. What else do we have in here? Yes, we have these lower rims. So I'm gonna select this and this. And this is pretty much the same thing we had on the arm. So we are going to do same thing all over again. I will select one edge inside and one edge inside. After that, I will just cut it somewhere in here and somewhere in here. Let's Ctrl E, mark seam, select all, U, angle based. Select in here, select link, Ctrl L. In the 2D port works the same as 3D port, and straighten UVs. It will get stretched in this part, but seems it's big, almost the same. It should be same. Usually you would want to mirror this, but again, this is fine. But as I can see on the texture, it doesn't look so bad. It seems fine, and generally, if it's metallic, it wouldn't do so much. This comes with more practice. You will try down the texturing, and eventually you will understand this a bit more. So I can put this on the side since it's selected, but this is not necessary. It can overlap, don't worry about it. The important thing is everything we have in here is kinda okay. It's unwrapped, it's all blue, nothing is orange, nothing is beside this, nothing is doing problems, so that's okay. So we can go next. Let's Alt H, we have a body done. Now the remaining thing to do is leg and arm. To save time, we need to do arm and legs, but let's not do it on both sides. If I get a model like this, I will just delete these parts and then I will mirror it. I will put it back just for now. It's good to have them as a reference in case you mirrored something wrong to keep it, but let's do it after this. Let's start with the leg. Shift H, I will go to edit mode, select this with the select link, again Ctrl L, and Shift H again, and I will go somewhere inside and go like this. Ctrl E, mark seam, select all with an A, U, conformal, and I seem to have done it wrong. Let's fix this. It's because there is big angle change in here and I have made a cut until here. First of all, I need to make this. I have to make a cut in here. Select all, U, conformal, but now this is kind of broken. I don't like it. So I need to get rid of this seam. So I will select this one, Ctrl to here, Ctrl E, clear seam, select all, conformal, and seems to work nice. I will do our straighten UVs as before. It didn't change much, but it did change, and it helps with the packing. Shift H, and now we have a special part, which is a ball. To make a ball, you have to isolate it, and it always has to be single like this. There is manual way to unwrap it, but we have a function for this, which is probably the best, especially if you're making something like an earth or something. You have to U, and we have sphere projection. So first of all, we have to be from orthographic view 1 or 3, doesn't matter, 1 or 3. Let's U and sphere projection. This will do something like this. I don't like this part, so there is a ball which I will switch to fan, and now this is something you get when you are making sphere. When you make a default sphere, this is something you get. So to unwrap this sphere, I did the same thing that you get by default, and it works the best. Now Alt H, and let's go do more. Select this one, Shift L, do the same thing as we did here. So mark seam here, and let's go from somewhere inside like this. Control E, mark seam, all, conformal, select this one, straighten UVs. Amazing. So Alt H. Now the remaining is the foot. So Shift H this, Alt select this, Alt select this, and let's mark seam, all, U. And I did it wrong again. Let's see. So what we have here, if I link the seam, this is essentially a cylinder. I see different shapes, but in a way it's closed like a cylinder, so we need to cut it the same way. So I will cut it here. I will Alt H, select linked. Now it selects the linked, so I will switch back to normal. Shift A, and cut it somewhere in here in the back. Mark seam, select all, conformal, great. Select this one, straight UVs, and all bueno. Alt H. I will go down here in the UV toolkit and select the checker map 2KB and see if it's all good. Besides having different sizes and everything, it seems all good. Seems that UVs is not stretching everywhere. You would be able to tell it because it would do something like for instance, it would do something like this if it wasn't looking good, you know. Let's go to object mode, Alt H. The leg is done. Let's do the hand. So let's Shift H the hand. Now we have two spheres. We are going to do the same thing. Isolate this one from orthographic front, U, and sphere projections. Amazing. Alt H, select this one, Shift H, U, sphere projection. Alt H. Now the only remaining thing is this and the lower part, of course. So let's the same thing on the legs. We did on the legs. Let's go here, cut it somewhere in here. Let me control mark seam. Now I can do the shortest path. I will go, let's see, like this to up here, mark seam, Alt select this, mark seam, select all, U, angle based, or conformal probably. Yes, that works better. You can see there is subtle change in here between angle based and conformal. So I will select this one again and scroll up, straighten UVs. You can put all of these to quick favorites if you want to. I already have it, so I could just quickly be selecting it from here. Especially there's so many tools in here and you might want to have it in a quick favorites. Leave it up to you. Alt H. Let's proceed. Let's go down here. Same thing all over again. Let's do this. So mark seam. Now I need to select the shortest path. So control down, control E, mark seam, select all, U, unwrap conformal, select this part, straighten UVs. Alt H, amazing. Hand is the remaining, so let's select this one. I'm keep selecting by select this part, and then control L, and I have the mouse shortcut. Keep repeating, I'm sorry, but just so you know that it's not some kind of magic. Shift H, we'll select this. Control E, mark seam, select all, U. I will use angle based because of this curved bar, so that it works better. We'll check it out with the checker map at the end. Alt H, select this part, Shift H. I'll select maybe this. Can we select this? Yes. Control E, mark seam. And we need to, again, we have created a cylinder closed shape. So let's select this edge and go up. Yes, I matched it. Let's go down here. Mark seam, select all, angle based, actually conformal. Select this part and straighten it. Amazing. Alt H. Now there is another sphere. So orthographic view, Shift H, U, and sphere projection. All over again. Everything is the same, just different sizes and everything. Now we need to do the thumb. So let's select all of this, like this. Control L. Shift H, and let's cut it like, for instance, this. By the way, you can try it yourself. You don't have to follow with me exactly. I'm just showing how, let's say, I would do it. But feel free to use this model as your own practice. I will cut it here because I already know that if I cut it here, I'm creating again the closed cylindrical shape. So let's go here, mark seam, same thing in here. I'm Alt selecting it so it selects all around the loop, and then Shift selecting this loop here and marking it. Before I do Unwrap, I will select this one as well. This is a cylinder, so I will isolate this angle change and isolate this angle change. Control E, mark seam, and now this, mark seam. Select it all, U, and unwrap conformal. Amazing. Everything seems to work. Everything is blue. There is a bit stretching in here, but there's no need to fix this, to be honest. You would have to cut each individual corners, and then you would have something like this, which isn't really good for continuity. It doesn't work so good. So you can leave it just like this. Let's do the fingers. We have the fingers here. And the fingers there, as you notice, they are all the same. That means I wouldn't want to do all of the same. So let's select these things, these two. I know I have selected them all. I can G just to check if I selected them. Again, Control L to, when I drag over this, it doesn't select everything. So Control L, now P, and separate by selection. Now I have created this copy, which tells me as a referential part. And I will go here, select this, select it wrong, Shift H, and start doing the thing as on the thumb. Same thing. Literally same thing. Okay, as you can see, everything is blue, seems to work. And now let's do the trick. Now, I could do it manually, or I could select everything, like, let's say select this one finger, Shift S, cursor to select it. And then I could go here into edit mode of the original robot, Shift D, and selection to cursor, keep offset, this thing. So now it selected it exactly on the part over it. So I can do it like this, or I can look from 3 in a numpad, Shift D, lock it on X, and just move it approximately the same way. That's it. I will hide this and delete this extra object. Alt H. Select this arm again. This is all copied, so everything sits off each other. If I select all of it, select this island, move it, you can see it's just above it. This can come in handy if you were to wanted to make packing manually. You could already select everything, move it, select everything, move it, and now everything is separately. But we are not going to do it here. That would take much more time to show. Alt H. And let's go into UV toolkit again and checker map 2K. Let's look at it. Everything seems fine. Do we see something? I don't think so. This looks fine as well. There is a bit of stretching here. If needed, we could cut it here, for instance, and then we could cut it like this and then straighten it. This would kind of get better UV result, and this part is hidden, so it wouldn't be so bad, but let's leave it. I think this is fine, especially for the metallic purpose. So this is good. And now I need to mirror this. So we have done everything. That's amazing. Everything is cut. Everything is... Most of the things are not stretching, or not so much that we would mind it. And now we need to get it on the other side. First of all, I move this cursor in here. So Shift S, cursor to world origin. This has to be in the middle. Select all of this. Let's scale it down. All of it, scale it down, just so that these squares are visibly readable. I need to show you something. Now let's right click, set origin to 3D cursor. Now we have the origin in the middle of the scene. Let's Shift D, now right click it. Now it's still selected, it's a copy of an arm, 001. Control M, that's for mirroring, it's a shortcut for mirror. Press X and enter, or return actually, and it's on the other side. Now what I wanted to show is that if you do this, we have it on the other side. If I hide it, you can see it's exactly above the head. You can usually tell it also by these glitches, that if it's everything same glitching, it kind of means it's on the overlapping kind of perfectly. So let's hide the copy and delete arm R. I can copy the name, Control C, delete it, unhide this, and just name it properly so I don't forget. But what I wanted to show is that you can see if you do this, the letters are mirrored, and I don't want them to be mirrored. So I will go to Edit, Control M in here as well. In the 2D viewport, you have to be in here. If you press it in here, you will do something like this. You don't want that. So let's go in here in the UV space, Control X, and flip it. Now it's properly. If you were to put some text over it again, it would be flipped. So this is important thing to do. If you were to use mirror modifier, you have to check there that you want to flip the UVs as well. Let's do the same thing on the leg. Select the leg, right click, set origin to 3D cursor, and Shift D, right click to not move it anywhere, Control M, X, hide it, delete, control the name, delete the leg, unhide the copied, paste the name, and now let's go to edit mode, select all of it with an H, with an A. Also make sure that if you do it, you also select all of it in here, because if the sync is not turned on, it could select nothing. As you can see, I have selected the leg, but the selection is not happening in the 2D viewport. So select everything in here as well. Control M, X, and that's it. It's properly done. Amazing. So now we have all the cuts and all the UVs set up. Now we have to set up the size and we have to pack it. So let's select everything, and for this I have, either we can do it here manually, shift select in the outliner, select all like this and be here. But first of all I need to hide the eyes. So now we need to set up the size and pack it. We have hidden the eyes. I go to edit mode. Now that I'm in edit mode, I need to actually select everything to see everything. Make sure you select the A in a 3D viewport. Now let's go here, select A here. I can see something got selected. Let's go to UV, and there is a average island scale. So let's press this, which did something like this, and it scales something approximately the same, but there will be some, but there could happen something being slightly more scaled or less. You would have to either fix it manually or just leave it be. It depends if it's important or not. I can see it kind of works. Everything is somewhat same. I generally scaled it manually a bit down, but not so much, just so that I can see the square. And now in the UV toolkit, I will pack UVs. And now UVs are packed. I will hide it with an N. And this, ladies and gentlemen, would be ready to be textured. This is something you could use. You could texture in a Blender, you could texture it in Substance Painter, but this is something that you could use. There are some notes about it, but I can't cover it up in this video and it's more advanced. This is more than enough for you to start. This is something you can start texturing on and start your texturing journey. This is good, okay? Everything is blue, nothing is stretching, things are straightened up. Good job. If you manage to get it here, it's amazing, especially if you're a beginner, and I was kind of rushing, so if you were to follow this up, great job, because I know this is something new and not so easy to do or to understand right away. But I just want to say this is not the best way to do it, it's not the best layout, but it works. Just quickly, what I mean by that is that, for instance, now if I select the finger is somewhere in here, and here, and here. If you watch the previous video, you know that if you were to put a texture over this, it would be kind of difficult to use the UV space, but the 3D space is fine. If you check the model I have made, you will see how kinda it should look like, but it's not something that's always necessary, and lots of time, even in professional environment, you can encounter something like this, especially if there's no time. There is more to this, especially to the packing and the layout of the UVs, but this is really more than enough. You are ready to go. Okay guys, I hope you liked this video. I'm sorry if it was too much rushed. I hope you were able to follow this and that you got this result as I did. If you didn't, that's totally fine. That's why I'm offering this model for free. That's why we are trying out in here, so that you can just kind of touch it, try the functions, see what it does, what it doesn't do. You can try it again with your own self, do different cuts, do different unwraps, and see what everything does. This is just to learn and to prepare you for future projects. I will cover more advanced videos to make it more. I will cover UDIMs, I will cover packings. I will try to teach you a bit more, but for us beginners, this is great progress on what we know. So even if you weren't able to follow me exactly and something stretched, something didn't work, that's fine. If you tried it and you got at least half of it like I did, amazing. So good job. The next video will be just a bonus video. I will try to do it as quickly as I can, and will be for the scene, for this scene, for the textured one, where I will also try to give you a bit of homework where you can try something. I'll show it and show you how to pose the rigs. So make sure to subscribe so you see when the next video comes out, and I'll see you there. And definitely leave me a comment if something you didn't understand something. I will try to respond as soon as I can. I will make a Discord and put it in a link description so we can chat up on the Discord and see how everything goes. You can let me know what was not explained so well, or just leave it in the comments. I hope you liked it, and I'll see you in the next video.